Whoa.
Pre-med student asked if there's any...
That's a cool sponge.
Yeah, it is cool. Pre-med student asked if there's any role for medical professionals in nautical careers. And I know that on vessels there's always a...
Okay, we can call that end of transect at 005432.
Yay.
Yay.
And I will celebrate with a zoom.
All
Yay.
right.
At nothing.
Oh, we'll find you something.
Okay, coming wide. A purple starfish. Haven't seen many of those.
Regarding the question about medical training and
I just
careers?
wanted to say that on most vessels there's a medical officer, and person who's appointed to provide medical care. But people that have been on more vessels than me, do you have any suggestions for this young student?
I know from my cruise ship days, we would have actually a doctor would have to be on board. Depends on how many passengers you have on board.
Okay.
But for the cruise ships that have over like 100 or 200.
There's a sponge for you to zoom on, Wayne.
Okay, we can do this. They're required for insurance purposes to have the properly trained medical personnel available.
And they also have a morgue on board, don't they?
Ooh.
Oh, jeez.
Wow, that got grim quick.
Yeah.
So on most of the...
we also have lifeboats that we hope we never have to use. So, yeah.
On most of the mates will have first responder courses, so they're basically similar to what an ambulance driver or paramedic will have. So they start out as being a first responder, what a fireman training would get, or ambulance driver, and then a lot of them will have paramedic qualifications. So it's an ongoing class that they
Coming wide.
participate in, or training.
Thanks, all.
And it's usually one of the mates, first or second mate, that has that qualification.
Yeah.
Can we get that rockfish that's just up off screen, up to the upper left?
Upper left.
I think that's a bank rockfish.
Oh, that guy.
So the vessel's still moving?
Yep.
You can just point me there. I get you there the
Where
rest
are
of
we
the
going?
way. That
Where that
fish.
starfish?
On to the next one.
Move.
Oh.
That star was
Oh.
cruising.
East.
Maybe not.
East. Yeah.
How's he looking? Is that what you were expecting?
Currently, we're moving at a 081.
Roger. So it is the velocity you change, and it changes one heading at a time. That's where.
So we're waiting on the ship?
Negative. We
Oh,
Coming
are
wide.
moving on.
Coming wide.
Okay.
Okay.
On to 1LS. But we are in off effort mode, which means Wayne can put in some effort. Love to have zooms on some of these rockfish and see if we can figure out what they are. Otherwise, we can just mosey on over to 1LS, and if there's any interesting rock habitat or anything, we can explore that.
Coming wide.
I'm just leaning over to see if that was something. No. It's a rock. I thought it was an octopus, but it was a rock.
It has a little urchin tucked next to it.
I think my oh wow. Someone spilled their urchins.
Oops.
Take a peek at them.
Yeah, does anybody know something about urchin reproduction?
Appears to be similar to bunny rabbits.
Well, I know that they,
Wait,
there's a big fin eel pout. They have their gametes inside their body, which is that's what uni is. If you eat uni,
Yep.
that's what that is.
There was an uni fishery off Mendocino for a while. I wonder if I think there still is for with red urchin.
there's a commercial value?
Commercial, yeah. I think it's gone down. There was a book called Blue Water Gold Rush that was written from the perspective of somebody who got into that fishery. It's a really good book. And it was off the Mendocino coast that they got started. And I don't know if they're still there. Well, actually, they got started in the Channel Islands and they came up to Mendocino, which is just north of us. And red urchins are a bit closer to shore and shallower, obviously.
Isn't it for medical purposes? They have something that detects clotting of blood or something. I'm not sure. I'm guessing.
I don't know. You know,
I
I think
read
you're thinking
something
of
somewhere.
horseshoe crabs,
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah, that's what
the blue blood and the horseshoe
Yes,
crab.
You're right. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
that's my world.
thinking. Oh, okay.
But I know that is one of the themes with the marine world is some of the medical benefits from some of the properties of some of these animals.
Guess that's it.
Let's check out that rockfish.
Okay. Can we get him?
Oh.
Wow, those are some big eyes.
Yeah. Coming wide. Poor guy looks tired.
These guys too.
Okay. Let's see what we can drop.
Oh.
The white ones reflect a lot more of the light.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see, there we go.
Rockfish spa.
Yeah.
That's the
Not-
besties.
Coming wide.
Not picking up my rockfish ideas very well today.
I was hoping it was this sharp chin, but it's not matching up. Just because I had this one pulled up and there's some similarities.
It's a nice fluffy heteroplepus. Heteroplepus used to be called anthomastus, and I still find myself saying it. I can't.
I know, I'm trying to train myself on this cruise. But Danny, one thing I'm noticing is we're seeing such white ones, and I feel like in the past I've mainly seen ones that have a lot of orange. Yeah,
I have seen a variation, and you can see, I've seen some that are all red or pinkish, and then some that have like a white ball with red polyps. But yeah, you're right, this one is pretty much all white, except for you can see the internal stuff is different color. That's a beautiful shot, actually.
It would be if I quit panning the camera, or tilting the camera. Should be able to full zoom there, I think.
Okay.
Beautiful.
There's another trick if I retract.
There we go.
That's what you want.
That.
Full zoom?
Yeah, not yet.
Ah.
Wow.
Look at those dots in there.
Yeah,
I wonder what that is.
Let's see. Turn that down. And get the.
Some little crawly
Yeah, I'm
things.
looking to see if
some
I can see
plankton.
them getting caught in the polyps.
Deep sea snorkeling.
Nice.
Off we go.
Mm-hmm.
Can you
Yep.
could
Full wide.
porch cam back when you?
Rocks.
And Wayne, we have a question for you as our video engineer. We have a film student who's wondering how they could get their foot in the door to do work of this type without being a marine biologist.
There's the video interns that we have are specifically wildlife videographers.
Can you zoom on that rockfish?
They're not. They don't have. I mean, I'm sure they have some biology experience and credentials from college courses that were required for their videography degrees, but to get your foot in the door, apply to. You can apply to be an intern on board this vessel. The applications are open now.
That's a coral?
Yeah, there's. You can
Ooh,
go
watch
to
out for that rock.
nautiluslive.org.
So there looks like the red coral on that rock that we're just going over. Yep.
Do we need
Zoom
to
in
stop
there?
the ship?
No.
Good.
Quick zoom, Wayne.
Okay, zooming.
And then to the left. There we go. Yeah, looks like a little swifty.
You
What
can
do
zoom
we
a
wanna-
bit more if you want.
I don't.
Zoom in a little.
I can zoom.
Good. Right there.
Whoa. The red thing up close?
Yeah.
Okay, let me get that in focus. Sorry. Okay, there.
You
That.
have about 20 seconds.
And hold on. Let's get a little more light and.
10.
It's a little itty bitty.
All right, looks good. Okay.
No pressure.
Off we go.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm going to
coming
talk
wide.
about habitat with.
All right, we're wide.
Roger.
Yeah, and just as a videographer, a wildlife videographer, just try and obtain employment that shows your interests and shows your commitment to the craft.
Oops, sorry. Ah, wrong button.
So the more you actually can demonstrate or show that you've done, that'll always work well for you when you need to convince someone that this is what I'm interested in, this is what drives me, this is my passion. So, and it can be hard. It can be, it might mean you have to say no to some other opportunities that aren't quite exactly in your field, but be persistent and try to gain that experience when you can. So,
Thanks, Wayne.
you're welcome. That starfish is going to...
Nav, can you put the habitat classification up on HiPAC? Please.
Yeah, what, do you know the name of that?
The name of that file?
Mm-hmm. I got backscatter substrate draped.
Substrate?
Yeah, that's
That's what that is?
yeah, this is the substrate draped. And do pure
Go
substrate.
for laser zoom.
There's just no shadowing on it.
I don't know what I'm zooming at. Okay, that's what I'm zooming at.
That rockfish doesn't look so good.
Okay.
Look at his
Ooh.
eye.
Does he even have an eye? Ooh. Might have parasites.
Oh, it
on
looks like parasites, yeah.
Sushi.
Ooh. Let me get the brightness down. And the dark.
Well, this looks red. Yeah, we're going here to here, and then up here to here.
Yeah,
Okay.
he definitely had something going on there. He needs to see a doctor.
Hey, there's another use for a doctor on a ship. Help the fish.
Fish doctor. That's a different moving fish right in the center.
That was some type of an eel pout. I can't remember the name. That funky head. What was that? Ah, thank you.
All right, so we are coming up to the start of 1L.
Roger, 1L.
Okay, we all set to start?
Let me come around to my correct heading, and Miles is bringing the vessel bearing around.
Yeah, ship's gonna be turning, so it may be a hot sec before we get moving.
Let's see what this white thing is so I can get one zoom out of my system.
Which one?
To the left. Port.
The anemone?
That's what it looks like. With some...
I know it's like partially closed in.
Can't really...
Sorry.
Got something going on. No, just a regular old anemone.
Anemone.
All right. I'll stay here.
These sea stars really cruise.
Yeah, they really do.
It's getting a little cranky over there once in a
Are
while.
we on the move?
We are on the move.
Okay, well, let's do transect start at 01:14:15.
Transect start, 01:14:15.
This is an interesting feature
What's
on
she
the
doing
left
over-
here.
I can't, it's annoying I can't see the vessel
Oh.
from here.
Is that some
0.5.
debris?
0.5, roger.
Or is that a ledge? It looks like line, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Underground cable? I don't know. It looks like rope. Yeah, I see a little bit of braiding. I think it was ship's rope.
What'd you say, 065 or 063?
Ship is going 063.
063, roger.
Herc should be going 062.3.
Never seen a compass with a decimal. That works.
Look at all these soul
06
fish. What are they?
2.3?
Yeah, 2.6 now. So do 63. You should be all right.
I do know,
English?
and we've been seeing the Dover sole and the Rex sole. The Rex are the skinnier ones.
If this area was open to fishing, does it appear that any of these fish are within acceptable limits, size-wise?
I actually don't know what the size limits are. I'm not familiar with the details of the fishing regulations. But, I mean, it's pretty hard if you're opening a trawl fishery. They fish pretty
Catches
indiscriminately.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they'll get caught, but they just can't be brought to market. So they become bycatch if they're too small, which is just a waste.
Well, if you're, since there's not much to see on this transect so far, we can talk about what we're doing. So we're in Greater Farallones National Marine Sanctuary off the northern coast of north of San Francisco. It's a beautiful stretch of coastline, pretty undeveloped and wild up here, and we are benefiting from some really fantastic, unusually fantastic weather conditions, and we've really been enjoying being here. Got some weather coming up tomorrow or so we're definitely taking advantage of it. Doing some surveys to characterize the habitat in the sanctuary. This is an area that hasn't been explored before, so we're curious about what animals are here, but we're also looking at these areas on the seafloor that have management regulations for fishing. These regulations are not sanctuary regulations. They're put in place by the Pacific Fisheries Management Council. And periodically they review those areas to look at places that could be opened again to fishing or areas that should be closed to fishing. And they are currently in a process of changing some of those regulations, and so some of these areas are part of those proposals. So we are looking at these areas to see how that could affect the habitat if there were to be fishing in these areas.
Big fin eel pout.
We've got that one down.
I finally remembered.
We're at 356 meters, so we're on the shallower end of the dives that we're doing on this cruise. Earlier we were as shallow as 150 or so, but we've been as
0.4,
deep
0.5.
as
You just kind of have to bounce back and forth between them.
almost 2,200, 2,100 something meters. So we've really been at a good expanse of depth on these surveys.
I think it was those shallow depths where they were seeing much more of the rockfish assemblages, but also we were in some rocky habitat too, right?
Right. Earlier today, they were seeing a lot of krill in the ROV camera, and then we also saw some whales at the surface. So that was kind of neat to be able to make that connection to what we were seeing underwater to what we were seeing at the surface.
And are there any species particularly of interest for this area or as we cruise?
Well, we are interested in understanding what fish are here and what invertebrates, particularly larger invertebrates like corals and sponges, are slow-growing, long-lived organisms if we find some rocky habitat. So those are some indicators of a community that might be more vulnerable to fishing impacts.
Down cam. It's a utility camera on the bottom of Argus to sort of help get Herc in position. Yeah.
Karen Reyna from the Greater Fairlands National Marine Sanctuary commented that there are no size limits for rockfish or flatfish for commercial fishing. The ground fishery management plan sets total quotas for trawl fishing.
Great, thanks Karen, and hi, I'm glad you're watching.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, that's good to know.
That's our colleague Karen Reyna, the Resource Protection Coordinator at Greater Fairlands National Marine Sanctuary. So Karen is one of the people that when we bring back this information and analyze it, she will be using that information in her job to protect the sanctuary.
And I know she's very anxious for this. So yay, Karen, we're diving. We've been so lucky so far with weather.
We're also somehow diverging.
And Taylor Ann, do you want to tell us a little bit about what types of samples we collect or what Herc is able to collect?
Yeah, so Herc actually has a manipulator arm, well has two manipulator arms that can be used to collect anything from corals to sponges like we've been collecting the past few days. We can also collect core samples to get some sediment samples and Niskin samples, which collects the water. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Herc can do almost anything. Pretty awesome tool we have to actually study what's down here. So we've been processing different coral samples, sponges, and all the associates that come along with them, like brittle stars and some brachiopods, krill. It's pretty interesting to see all the life that's down here in the deep sea. So we process all of these samples, give them their proper labels, and send them off to appropriate labs to be further studied and identified.
Okay, we're getting pretty close to the end of transect 1L.
Today it was fun. We did a ship-to-shore interaction. It's one of the ways that we engage community from classrooms to museums in what's going on EV Nautilus. And the Cal Academy of Sciences was one of our ship-to-shore interactions today. So we were super excited to tell them a little bit about Gary Williams, their coral specialist, being on board and all the help that he's offering and expertise he's offering this expedition. Some of our viewers, Jenny, are curious about what is floating around in the water column.
Well, it looks like marine snow. It looks like some gelatinous marine snow, just jelly-like stuff. Maybe some plankton. Looks pretty thick. Kind of looked through the lasers and it's like sparkling. But that's all part of the food web.
Okay, we can call that end of transect at 012545.
This is one of the richest marine environments in the world along the coast here, with this incredible upwelling system we have that's seasonally active in terms of upwelling nutrients and fertilizing the food web, surface to seafloor, with phytoplankton blooms and then zooplankton eating the phytoplankton.
0.5, sorry.
And I think that's what we're looking at.
Okay, so we have completed all the mud transects that we need.
Whoop, whoop.
And the next thing we'll be doing is moving up towards 1M. And we're looking for a change in the habitat type before we start another transect. So looks, the map that I am looking at looks promising, but yeah, it looks good on the backscatter too. So let's see if we can find some more rock habitat as we move up towards 1M.
Copy that, looking for rocks.
So here we are off effort, so we can zoom and pan around. And there you go, Wayne.
Thank you. Just got to check, make sure it still works.
That's right. Carrie mentioned Cal Academy a few moments ago, and California Academy of Sciences, an institution in San Francisco in Golden Gate Park, and they are a research and science organization, but they also have a museum the public can visit. It's a really great building, recently remodeled. I mean, that's been probably 10 years ago or so, but has a green roof and rainforests that you can go into and aquaria. So it's really neat. But they also have a whole part of their staff that are scientists focused on studying different parts, different organisms, animals, and issues in the natural world. And Gary Williams is on board with us. He is a coral expert, and he takes all of our samples back to the California Academy of Sciences, where they are archived there. Also, duplicate versions go to Harvard, where all of Nautilus samples go. And Gary will be looking at these samples in the lab, under a microscope. He uses a fancy microscope, a scanning electron microscope, to look at the parts of the coral that you can't see with just your eye or a regular microscope. And looking at those different parts, he can tell coral species apart. So
hold on, Wayne, I'll set it down gently.
Okay.
That's a really great resource and partnership that we have with Cal Academy.
Can do a half zoom meanwhile.
Are we waiting for the boat?
We are, yeah, so I'll just barely touch and you get a super zoom.
Yeah, he's got good light. He's got a lot of good light on him. The angle might be a bit oblique if we drop, but that's pretty good right there.
Taylor, and it looks like someone read your bio and they asked if you recommend any poetry about water or the deep ocean.
So actually my favorite poet is Pavana Reddy, and she has a very long poem that's in a song by Anushka Shankar called Remain the Sea. And my favorite line, I actually got a tattoo of it. It says, "Your body is a continent, but may your heart always remain the sea." I think that's a really awesome poem. And I also write some poetry myself about the deep sea. I haven't published it or put it out anywhere yet, but I'm sure after this amazing cruise experience I might release that.
That's awesome.
I think that is so great. Or at 4 a.m. in the morning. I feel like it's a great time to share it.
Taylor, I keep learning more and more about you. I'm so impressed.
Okay, coming wide.
Yeah, I love science and creativity equally.
Oh, that's great.
Good job.
You know, at times, OET and EV Nautilus have, in addition to having scientists join them, sometimes have artists.
That's true.
I know they've had some painters and textile artists and
those 20-meter
other left-brained
boxes
people.
It takes all modes of society to help protect the ocean. Arts are definitely a part of it.
Yeah, I'd say art is a really good communication tool that appeals to emotions, and really anybody can kind of understand as long as you visualize it in that way. It's pretty interesting.
Well, Jenny here in the van with us, our education and outreach coordinator at Cornell Bank National Marine Sanctuary, does a radio show about the ocean, which is pretty creative. And I know that I'm always impressed by all the different ways that you can find to talk to so many different people about the ocean. I remember one time you had on some artists who were kind of interpreting or inspired by the ocean, a dancer and someone else.
Oh yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah, I thought that was just a really neat angle.
Thank you.
Jenny, I am not surprised that you host a radio show, but can you tell us more?
I did one today from the ship. It was so much fun. Thank you, Danny, for that. I am the host of Ocean Currents, which is a show I produce on community radio for West Marin. KWMR, shout out to you. Just south of us here in Sonoma County, in Marin County. And, you know, I've been with the sanctuary quite a long time, and when I was starting out and driving to work, I tuned into the station and I heard, "Oh, we are always looking for programmers. If you have an idea for a show, come talk to us." And I thought, oh man, maybe I should do a show about the ocean, and talked about it with the staff, and we had an advisory council and decided to do it. And so I got trained on the studio and started hosting Ocean Currents about 12 years ago. And I save every show as a podcast, so people can find that in iTunes. Ocean Currents. And so today I hosted a show from the ship, and that was the ultimate thrill to actually be out in the sanctuaries on a research boat, communicating back to the community.
You can zoom in on him if you want, Wayne.
About what we're doing out here, and it's super fun. Ooh. What are those parasites? Let's
covered in something.
Can we get in on that?
That angry eye.
Ooh.
Wow, that's a lot of them.
Wow.
Okay, let's see what we got.
Seems notable.
I'd be angry too if I had that many critters on me.
So is that maybe Starry? I was going there too.
Can you zoom in on his eyeball?
Always have white spot behind black eye spot.
I can, yeah.
Look at those creepy things. Oh my gosh. I'm sure there's a biologist out there
Okay.
that thinks that's really awesome.
Time to go.
Now,
Past time to
why
go.
does that skate have all those parasites? That's a good question.
The ship in Argus flew right off the nav screen while we were looking at that skate. So. I do.
All right, we're going to fly over this mud and get to some rocks.
I wonder if that was a Petrali sole, that one that was kind of wider.
Hercules doing 1.1.
Been trying to get to know the sole.
I didn't
Catch it
see
up.
it, but Petrali are one of the species that's targeted in the trawl fishery.
See a little bit wider.
See what
Here.
she's got there. .3 is all I can get.
Haven't seen many crabs over this
0.3
habitat.
faster than it needs to be.
You're right.
345 meters.
Okay, we're back out in front. We have time to stop and smell the flowers again.
Okay. Thanks for the heads up.
I think I see a rock.
Anything in the sonar? Nope, not too much. So probably just some little rocks.
Better than
We'll
no
take
rocks.
it. Yep.
People watching are enjoying the zooms.
Oh, is that? There's an octopus. Zoom.
Ooh, good eye.
Good eye.
Nice. Ooh.
Okay, I'll
Giant
let it over there,
Pacific.
Wayne. I'll set it down. So it
Let's get you. We're 2 for 2 now.
I know.
Oh.
okay, I'm in the mud.
Hello.
Now
Zoom it
this
well.
is a species that can change color. We were
And
talking about that
texture.
earlier.
You can zoom in a bit more if you want there, man.
Ooh, nice
Stable.
color.
Oh, sorry.
This makes me think of Jenny Woodman. Loves the octopus. Now, are there parasites on the octopus too?
Or is that just stuff?
Yeah, it looks like a little
Oh.
bit.
It's not too happy with us.
It's like there's only so much camouflaging I can do. All tucked in.
All right, that's great. We can leave that one in peace. Wayne, if
Zoom
you're
in
talking
just
to
a
us, I'm
little,
not
Wayne.
hearing you.
Sorry about that. I dropped off SPL. I was
Wayne,
just saying
can you
it
push
does,
in just a bit, please?
Yeah, it doesn't
Thank
take
you.
much on this seafloor. Just these 3 little rocks and all this
That's good.
life.
That's good.
Okay, you're gonna spin around it. I'll leave it like that.
So the lasers are 10 centimeters, so that's like about 20 centimeters
Yeah, the body.
in the body.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Oh, we gotta leave this guy alone.
So cute.
Someone just messaged that tomorrow is International Octopus Day.
No way.
Yeah, we're all about that.
Yeah, coming out. So he's resting up for the big day.
where she,
Or she, it.
I'm wondering, you know, octopus females brood on their eggs for quite a bit of time to keep them safe and oxygenate.
All right, we got some great shots of this guy.
Moving on.
Coming wide.
It's like, phew.
Antonella, I'm looking at your bio, and I think it's really cool. You're interested in bio-inspired soft robots. The octopus got me kind of thinking about that. Oh, yeah. Can you tell us more? Where are we in developing that technology?
We're decently far away from, at least from, so my field is field robotics, so it involves platforms that have the capacity to carry a lot of sensors and have a lot of computing for autonomy. And we're not quite there in the soft robotics field to have like field-ready platforms that could go underwater with all the sensors we need for autonomy. Jess, who's on 12 to 4, is actually a better person to talk to about soft robotics and the advances in that. I'm not as much of an expert as she is, but definitely excited for the day when we have soft robotic technology that can go more into the ocean and into field environments with the sensors that we need to have them be fully autonomous.
What are soft robotics?
So that's basically actuators, or like the body of the robot are soft. So like more closer to what you actually find, like for example, an octopus. And they have made like soft octopus robots and like soft robotic fish. But basically what we have, like for example, Herc, is its chassis is made out of aluminum. Everything's really rigid. It's a big box. There's nothing on it that's like malleable, like an animal, like an octopus. And soft robotics is more focused on the materials.
Oh, strike.
Oops.
Very nice. Sorry. I was like, he's doing something
I
different.
know.
And he was feeding. Yeah, he was hunting.
I missed that.
Feeding or
pretty
blinded
cool.
by
No, I think he
Herc's
actually
lights.
just went in for his food. He got a snack.
So last time I was on Nautilus, we had a woman
He's gonna
who brought on squishy fingers. Would that be
Squishy
an
robot fingers.
would that be an example of some soft? It wasn't robotic; it was an attachment. But would it be an example of something?
No, he didn't.
Yeah, for sure.
Ooh, thanks, Caitlin.
That's like a soft robotic actuator, for sure. That one's really cool because that allows you to sort of manipulate more delicate objects like coral without like just crushing them. We have the coral cutters on the craft at the moment, but if we had like the typical manipulator that we have, which is 2 parallel jaws, it can kind of just crush it. So the squishy robot fingers allow you to be a lot more delicate in your collections. And that's definitely like a cool example of soft robotics. But the field as a whole is more in the like working on materials and like innovative actuation techniques. And we're not quite to the point of having like, for example, a Herc robot that's entirely made of soft, sort of like a soft-bodied Herc, basically. We're not quite there yet, but we have like actuators and various types of other robots, which are pretty cool. Like MIT has a soft robotic fish, which I think is pretty awesome, which is diver operated.
Okay, you can zoom that way.
Thanks for sharing. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, I'm fascinated.
A lot of
Thank you.
opportunity for that to advance.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, too much to look at.
Caitlin, you're welcome to keep calling in rockfish. You called back. I didn't want to interrupt Antonella, but there's some split-nose rockfish back there.
I'm gonna take a guess at black gill. Maybe.
Yay.
That's
Is he
right.
gonna take a breath? Let's get that gill in there.
No parasites. Some interesting whelks over there on the rock.
Yeah.
Some snails.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
There he's.
We're starting to see some more rockfish species as we get to the rocks.
I think that's related.
Look out.
I have a rockfish chant
Oh yeah.
that my dad wrote. He wrote a puppet show about Cordell Bank for me. And it might be more for the 4 a.m. watch. We might need a little pickup then, so we'll save it.
Is it we will rock you fish?
No, but
No?
I think I like that better. Nice.
You cannot hide. We will find you.
Okay, off
These
we go.
rockfish almost look like they're going to fall over when they're close to them. They just kind of look off balance.
Looks like a bunch of zoanthids on that rock.
Sorry. If
That's okay. What?
We're in catch-up
2
mode.
seconds sooner I would have stopped.
That's okay.
So I didn't start a transect because I was looking to see whether it was going to be rocky enough for us. It's looking like it has good potential to be mixed. So we just passed 1M, but if you guys are in a good mode to do a
Sure.
on-effort transect, we can
Let me get the
Sure.
camera.
start
set.
here. Just be
Oh.
a little short.
Did you move Mongo?
On effort. No, I just
Okay,
took the camera to the right a
0,
little
1.
bit.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
let's wait till we're moving, then I'll call it.
You're at 0.15.
I was using the Mongo arm as my reference, but that's okay.
I can kick it left
No,
again.
no. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay,
Okay, we're on.
on effort.
014647.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, this is mixed.
This is certainly rocky. Wait, he's gonna.
Oh, there's another one
That's
too.
so funny.
He's
Two
gonna.
Your
of
target
them
pairing
going
is
parallel.
2.
That's how they eat. Apparently,
Roger.
they go down and then find
Yeah,
something
you're
and
at 1.
strike. That's cool. They're all. It's that time of day, and you know what? The sun just went down, so I think at dusk they go into feed mode. Or it's possible.
She going a little faster now that she's got the pointy end? headed?
Yeah, we're kind of between 0.5, 0.6 now. 0.4, 0.6.
The sun is just setting.
Yeah, do you want to swap out camera 9 for
I
deck
can.
cam?
So cam 9. We go to cam multi 9
Got a bug on the windshield.
and
Uh-huh.
cam afro.
Ooh, yeah.
It's going to include so many animals.
Thank
in the
you.
video count.
Just in time to.
Think we'll see the green flash on the camera?
I don't know. It's always a possibility.
Has anyone ever seen the green flash?
Yep.
What?
Yeah.
I've tried so many times.
If you're at sea and you have the right atmospheric conditions and you have no obstructions from you in the absolute horizon, in the curvature of the Earth, Yeah, it's quite.
It happens.
Yeah, it does.
Wow.
I wouldn't say it's common, but it's definitely the conditions at sea are more ideal than on land.
Today is a good day for it.
Maybe a
Can we
few
change
too
the-
many low clouds, I think, maybe. But
So just to give people at home a bit of a picture of where we are. So of course we're on the EV Nautilus, this 211-foot vessel. But then on the top of it, or on a top deck, we're in a shipping container that's been outfitted with loads of screens and tech. And there's about 8 of us in the space. So our data logger and our scientists, our video engineer, our 2 ROV pilots, our navigator, and then myself. But the 4 a.m. to 8, the 4 to 8 shift does mean we have to see all of our sunrises and sunsets on video.
did we run out of rocks?
Yeah, we did. It tricked us. We're at 342 meters depth, and I'm looking at the data coming in from Herc. Looks like it's about 6.5 to 7 degrees C than the water temperature.
Chilly.
Well, when we were diving on our really deep habitat a few days ago, about 2,000 meters, so it was 2 degrees, so a little bit warmer than it was over there.
So people are curious about the behavior of the rockfish, them being vertical in orientation. Are we suspecting that that was just a feeding behavior?
Well, I saw one. The first one we saw do it was just looked like he was drifting without purpose and just falling. And then it must have found something it saw on the bottom that it wanted to attack, so it shot itself straight down and picked something up off the bottom. So I had the other ones that I saw. One, the split nose rockfish, the second one that I saw just bounced off the bottom. Like he reached the bottom and didn't find anything he wanted, so he just bounced. So I can't say I know for a fact that that's what they were doing, but
I've seen them do that before. When you go to the aquarium at Cal Academy of Sciences, they have a big tank resembling the Greater Farallones National Marine Sanctuary with rockfish and some bull kelp. And when you go there, those rockfish are just like hanging out, sometimes upside down like that, and very still. It's so eerie in a way.
yeah.
I don't know much about that though, and I have seen that before in previous dives of them hanging like that vertically. Maybe we can ask Tom Leidig when we get him back in the side chat. Or maybe Caitlin knows.
I know in Tonga, I got to dive with whales that would sleep, but they sleep with their tail down. So, yeah.
And thank you for joining us, Lori from Point Reyes Station. We're so glad to have you.
Hello. It's nice to hear the hometown. The Cordell Bank National Marine Sanctuary office is located in Point Reyes Station. We're co-located at Point Reyes National Seashore. Small little coastal town.